Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good morning to our respected speaker, Dr. Thava, Publications and Excellence Unit, UiTM Perlis, Postgraduate Unit of UiTM Perlis, and to all audience. Welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today's webinar writing series, a hands-on class on analyzing and synthesizing a WoS paper for a high-impact literature review. I am Ani Suraya binti Saad, internship student from Faculty of Business and Management, UiTM Perlis, and I will be moderating this 2 hours webinar. Before we proceed, I would like to raise an attention from you on several matters. First, it is appreciated if you could mute your microphone throughout the sessions to avoid any accidental interruptions during the talk. Next, if you do have any questions for the speaker, you may raise your hands and turn on the microphone to ask the speaker out loud, or you may type your questions in the chat box and I will read out for you at the end of the sessions. Finally, the link for the certificate of participation will be shared at the end of the webinar, so please stay with us until the end. Thank you for your cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, the main objective of this webinar are to help students in managing their postgraduate journey. All participants will be provided with the information on how to analyze and synthesize a WoS paper for high-impact literature review. Our webinar today is honored with the presence of Dr. Thava. Thank you for coming, Doctor. Before we begin...
Hi, good morning, Mr. Anis. Thanks for moderating the session today. Thanks for having all of us. And thank you to Dr. Ain and the rest of the doctors and the whole team for having me today. And this is our first class after our MOU officially with UiTM. So very glad to be here.
Okay, Doctor. Before we begin, let us first welcome our Deputy Rector, Dr. Erniza Suhana Mokhtar, to deliver her opening speech and remarks. Thank you, Dr. Erniza. Now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on, it is my pleasure to introduce our respected speaker to all of you. Dr. Thava completed his PhD degree in engineering in less than 3 years, majoring in the integration of 4th generation long-term evolution (LTE) and optical communications. Thereafter, he solely founded Proofreading by a UK PhD, an academic consulting firm that provides services across many verticals. The firm has grown from having a single founder to currently employing over 87 consultants all over the globe and currently serve corporates and universities in over 33 countries, including UK, Saudi Arabia, Korea, Australia, and many more. In his personal research journey, Dr. Thava has an exciting publication records and awards with more than 60 publications within 5 years, mostly published in ISI quartile 1 journals. Most notably, he had garnered over 90,000 academic followers in his vibrant Facebook page, which completely focuses on academic and career paradigms. Proofreading by a UK PhD currently serves as the official editorial for many universities, governmental and private organizations. Dr. Thava also active in entrepreneurship journey and industrial linkage, which has made him eligible to secure over 23.7 million ringgit Malaysia worth of research grants and won numerous Best Paper and Researchers of the Year awards. With his impressive achievement, UiTM Perlis are pleased to invite Dr. Thava to motivate all the students over here together to achieve success. Without any further ado, we welcome Dr. Thava to deliver his speech. Dr. Thava, this floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ms. Anis. Thanks for the fabulous introduction. I didn't know Dr. Erniza is here. Hello, Dr. Erniza. Thanks for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you here. and rest of the doctors who are here, thanks for joining, and rest of the students as well, and all the participants. A very good morning to all of you. Very glad to be back after quite a break, I guess. So let me start sharing my screen. Looking for my video. Just one moment. Oh, okay, my video is here. Okay, all right. Okay, so just a bit of housekeeping. As Miss Anis mentioned, I think I would prefer all of you to ask the question via chat box so that won't interrupt the flow of presentation. Let's not unmute the mic unless we already reached towards the end of the program. Okay, so all of you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy if you guys ask a lot of questions and put it all of that in the chat box. So for that matter, please kindly open the chat box, okay, and keep it active at all times because I'll share a lot of links there for you guys, a lot of resources as well. Okay, so this, as usual, every year I have classes for UITM. This is first of 4 classes that we're going to have this year. The main theme is driven by literature review. Last year we had many different themes. Last year we had publication, we had proposal development, and so on and so forth. This year we're going to focus our entire energy on literature review, because when you solve literature review, when you solve literature, I think the rest of the process will take its own path. Okay, most likely lah. Okay, this literature review governs the rest of the journey. Okay, so on that note, today we are going to look at analyzing and synthesizing a Web of Science paper for high impact literature review. Okay, so as usual, all my classes are connected. So when you miss the first class, you won't be able to understand very well on the in the second class, and so on and so forth. So for that benefit alone, please, if any of your colleagues, friends, or colleagues and friends and dear students, any of them already missed the class today because we changed the date from Friday to today. Okay, because I have something to do tomorrow. So if any of them missed the class, please do advise them, please do inform them that the class is on now, and I know I can advise them to come and join. You can share the link directly with them as well. Okay, so why are we looking at Web of Science paper for literature review? This is a very important point. We want to always look at the best of the best when we conduct our literature review. Okay, we don't want to look at predatory journals. We don't want to look at low quality journals and so on, because we want to make sure whatever we build, whatever results we try to build, it has to be from credible sources. Okay, any problems? Yes, I've shared the screen already. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, all can see. So Intan Martina, I think you need to recheck on your connection, because all can see my screen and all can see my face in front of my screen, right? Okay, fantastic. All right. So that's what we want. We want to use credible literature to build our entire research. Okay, so I'm not going to go through this slide. I think our moderator had done a fabulous job. I'm going to skip this and I'm going to go into this. So I am from Proofreading by UK PhD, a homegrown service providing firm for academic paradigm. Okay, we are doing a lot in academic consulting space. We are the only ISO 9001-2015 certified academic consulting firm. We are also recognized and endorsed by SFEP, also known as CFEP, and Human Resource Ministry. And most recently, we were also awarded with Malaysian digital status. Okay, that means we are also part of a digital movement of Malaysian government lah. So since we are based in Cyberjaya, we are now currently recognized by MDAC. Okay, and this is our presence all over the world. We are in about 34 different countries, and we also have already completed official proofreadership and MOU with the following institutions, and very proudly with UITM we completed last December. Okay, very, very important milestone for us. So today's class, I'm going to share not only my personal knowledge. Okay, that would be a very wrong thing to say, because we learn a lot from others as well. Okay, no matter how good you are, no matter how expert you are, you can always learn a lot of things from others. That includes myself as well. So I have not only learned from my personal journey, I have learned a lot from my clients as well. 24 over thousands of them, and they have taught me a lot as well, as much as I have taught them as well. So, on that note, today's class we are going to absorb some of the knowledge from some of the spaces that we consult, thesis, proposal, some a bit on publication, a bit on thesis to journal conversion, and a bit on language as well. So it's mostly proposal thesis centric. Okay. So as usual, I need 100% participation. So in the case where if the phone is facing you, your phone, and if you're doing something else on your laptop or computer, you can avoid doing it now because this class won't be repeated as I've mentioned last year as well. This would be a dedicated class for this quarter alone. Okay, and this is not an appropriate diagram now because it's fasting month, but I built this slide before fasting month. So ignore that, but whatever else they're doing behind the screen, no problem. Just give your unparalleled attention and open the chat box and become keyboard warriors. That's what we want. Okay, so if you have any questions, you want to discuss something, you have some very curious things to ask, feel free to ask. Don't feel shy. This is an informal session. We can keep it very geek based lah. Like you can ask as we go. Okay, so as usual, I think UITM, most of the UITM participants, they all know very well of my Facebook Live classes. But however, to my surprise, I always still find new participants, new students, of course. They don't know that I do a lot of classes on Facebook. So to all the participants today, how many of you don't know that I have about 125 classes on my Facebook page that you guys can go and watch for free? Many different classes, finding research gap, thesis strategies for minor correction, writing PhD, master's research proposal. Just to start with, these are some of the classes. How many of you don't know about these classes? Please respond to me in the chat box. Okay, seems like quite a bit. Don't know about these classes, no problem. Okay, for those who had never joined my Facebook class before, I just had one recently on theoretical framework. This is the link to my Facebook page. Take a minute, click that particular link. I'll tell you what to do. Once you have arrived at the link, please let me know. Okay, so you guys have arrived, yeah? Okay, so once you arrive here, not only classes video, you can see a lot of notes as well. Okay, a lot of important notes that we share on daily basis. So in order to be able to realize that we are posting things daily night, okay, this was the most recent class, choosing theoretical framework. All you need to do is go up here, click this button. It's either like or follow button. I don't know which one you can see. It depends on device as well and depends on your account. If you see like or follow anywhere, at least click that. And after clicking it, click it again and select favorites. The moment you select favorites, then you still won't see all the posts because Facebook will not show it to you. They want us to pay for everything, but you might get lucky. Okay, you might see it more than normal. Okay, more than usual. So all you need to do is click follow or like, and then click it again and click favorites. Okay, so once that is done, then we can go to videos. So click more, go to videos. So under this video, this is the most recent class that I conducted, choosing a theoretical framework. If it is helpful for you, you can have a look at it later. We have in total 125 classes. So you click see all. It's under playlist free writing tutorials by Dr. Thava. Okay, so click see all. From here, you can see review journal writing, question instrument design, reading a paper for this one, no need to worry lah. This one I'm teaching you guys today. But there are other classes, research proposal writing, thesis strategies for minor correction, research gap and new topic, literature review with Scopus, literature review with Web of Science. These two will be very, very important classes for you to watch. These two, okay, quite important actually. Road to proposal defense and Viva, literature review, reading and summarizing, and so on and so forth. So you can find a lot of important classes here. Okay. Okay, you can find a lot of important classes here. Example, problem statement, you can find somewhere here. These are all problem statement classes. And then you can find research question design, PhD thesis time management, elements to graduate before time. All these kind of important classes that you can have a look. I've been collecting these classes since 2020 March. Okay, since MCO, when Facebook Live became a very important thing for us to survive. I started since then, and I still continue doing it until today. Okay, as much of knowledge I can share, I share it online for free. So in case if you're interested, you can go and watch at any time you are free if you want to learn any specific parts. Okay, apart from that, apart from these free resources that I provide, I also provide a lot of templates. So for many UITM students and supervisors, they are well aware of these templates, and I heard from UITM that some of them are actively using it. Supervisors have advised them to actively use these templates during their research progress. Okay, that's a very important recognition for me. So what are the templates? We have literature search databases. What are the databases out there for you to use? Critical literature review template, 17 questions for you to ask when you do a critical literature review. Okay. Then literature review summary, how to summarize a paper. We're going to use this today. This is important. Take note. Then literature matrix. Host, can you mute everyone? It's interrupting the sound. Okay, then literature review and background writing. These are all statistical value. Okay, statistical value. When you're going to write background, this many percentage of people bankrupted during MCO, this many percentage of COVID became better, and so on and so forth. Where do you get all those data? This is the template that you can access those data from. Problem statement template, 7 steps. I have 2 different templates. Abstract writing for thesis proposal, systematic literature review template for inclusion exclusion criteria. And then we have a few more. Proposal defense viva questions. This is another template I created. Full thesis table of content. And then this we'll be using today from all the databases, which databases you can use. So I've summarized all of that as well. Okay, so how do you access all of these templates? Very simple. You can use this particular link. Okay, so once you click the link, you'll basically arrive here. Don't worry, just click continue. Okay, from here, you can see all the recent classes. I haven't updated this yet. There's no time for me to update yet. I'll update very soon. Oops. Okay. You can request all the thesis journal templates here. My Facebook group, my Telegram group. This is where you join. So once you join the Telegram group, okay, this is how you can join. And then from Telegram, you can download. Okay, Tapa. For those who haven't joined the Telegram, let me go one step at a time. I don't want you guys to struggle. So join the Telegram group first. Click the link in the chat box. Join Telegram group first. Once you guys have joined, for those who haven't joined, let me know in the chat box. Then I'll continue explaining how to find the templates. Okay, everyone. So once you are here in my Telegram group already, you just have to click the search button. Okay, for those who are looking at it from your mobile phone, you won't look at it like this. The view won't be like this. So you can look at the name up there in the group, in Telegram, Dr. Thava's Academia. Click that name, and then you can see 4 buttons will appear. You can see the search button there. You need to click the name up there. Once another screen appears, you can click the search button there on mobile phone. On desktop, this is how it will look like, most likely. So once you click the search button, you type template. You can download all the templates here. Okay, so everything is given here. So all my resources, I always park in Telegram group because the files will never expire. Kalau dekat WhatsApp group, usually the post, I think within few hours or 24 hours or so, will expire. Kan? So, but in Telegram group, even I shared 2 years ago also won't expire. So you can find a lot of notes, a lot of resources here, sample papers lah, sample thesis lah. You can search with any keywords you want, you will still find some resources. And this group is also connected to my Facebook page. So therefore, you can see all my daily notes as well that I share on Facebook. So in case if you miss there, you can watch all of that here. Okay? So clear everyone? Any questions, please let me know. Any trouble, please let me know. That's how you search and you can download the PDF and use. Okay? So that is done. And also here you can find all my free notes. You can download from here. All the video classes I shown earlier, also you can watch it from here. That's why I never give separate link for that lah. I only give the page link. So for those who worried that they don't know how to go and find later, don't worry. You can just click it from here. My TikTok channel, YouTube channel, everything is here. Okay? So, let's get started. Resources done. Now let's go into the content of today's class. So from this, I'm going to cover 5 different sections. I'm going to cover topic selection and scouting. Okay, this is important not only for new students. This is important for students who are still struggling with their proposal, can't get everything right. So probably you need to reposition your topic again. And especially for supervisors who are looking to create new PhD ideas, new PhD papers, okay, publication, not PhD papers, new publications, new PhD idea, new grant ideas. This is a very good technique to scout new topic, because I'm going to show you how to use analytical idea mining, how to use data analytics to scout a search string. Okay, so that is number 1. Number 2, all about research gaps, which will explain to you from your scouting process what kind of research gaps you can look for. Okay, then to enable this both, which databases you can use. Okay, and finally, once you have downloaded the paper, how do you crunch it? Okay, how do you read it through? How do you analyze through? How do you deconstruct a paper? And then from proposal, this one is on publication, because I will never run a proposal thesis class without looking into publication. At least few minutes I'll spend on it, because it's very, very crucial. PhD without publication is it's equivalent to almost incomplete, if you ask me. So it's very, very important for you to publish as part of our research journey. So I'm going to touch base on that as well. Okay, so I'm going to skip this question, because I think many new joiners also today, for the benefit of everyone. But just a bit of ice breaking to all of you. Please share your name, PhD or masters, and subject. Kalau supervisor, boleh tulis supervisor lah. Okay, kalau supervisor boleh tulis supervisor. Name, PhD, masters or supervisor, and what is your subject area in the chat box. Okay, all of you who are present today, let's take about 2 minutes to fulfill that, so that we know we have candidates or participants or supervisors from which faculties, and I will try to conduct the class as generalized as possible depending on which faculties we have here today. Okay, so please take your time and let me have the answers. Okay, we have a lot of participants from various areas, and we have a lot of supervisors as well. Thank you to all supervisors, to spare your time to come and join today, despite your busy schedule. Okay, so while people are writing, let me continue into the next part of the class today. All right. So how to select a topic? Okay, since we have various sectors, various faculty today, okay, various subject areas. So when you're going to decide a topic, whether you're going to decide a topic for the next PhD for your students, or you're going to decide a topic for your next publication, or you're going to decide a topic for your own PhD or masters, or you're already halfway through, or spending a lot of time, you still cannot get the proposal right, and really having a hard time to get through it, then these processes will be really, really, really helpful for you guys. So always start by considering whether a topic is within your interest or not. That is the most important thing you need to always check. All right. So once that is there, and let's say if you don't have anything within my interest that I want to investigate, I think my life is pretty good. I think there's nothing curious about it. Okay. Then you can also look at a topic that is relatable to your situation. Situation can be anything. A situation can be you're working in a university, you want to look at the entire policy framework. Okay. And then let's say you are in a government sector, you want to look at the working environment. Let's say you're an engineer, you're working in a manufacturing firm, you want to see technically how to improve the yield. Okay, this kind of technical things, social things, policy related, business related, anything related that to your situation, you can convert that into a PhD as long as the literature allows. If the literature doesn't allow, there's nothing new about it, or not people not talking about it, you can still do your PhD, but just that it will be very, very tough to establish the topic itself. It won't be that easy. Okay. Let's say it's a no. You cannot find anything within your interest or anything relatable to your situation. Okay, then you need to hard pause and decide an alternative focus area. Okay, a completely different focus area, completely different subject area, or you can also merge a multi-subject area. Okay, multi-dimensional research. Okay, so let's say you find something within your interest or relatable to your situation. If it is a yes, then you can, next thing you need to check whether it fulfills your specific goals or not. Okay, that is very, very important, because all of us in research will have a goal where we want to, what do you want to achieve? What is your end game? Okay, that you really need to know what you want to achieve end of the day. Okay, so and also to especially to PhD candidates or master's candidates, I get a lot of queries because we do a lot of coaching and consulting. So I get a lot of queries from new students that will be like, I'm doing PhD in education. I don't know how to funnel down in education area. Okay, first thing you need to understand, education, business management, engineering, electronics, medicine, surgical, public health, all of these are huge area. There are like infinite amount, not infinite, finite, but finite itself, there are a lot of things that you can do. So you need to go specifically into a segment that can relate back to your situation. So you need to decide based on, example, you're in education and you are a teacher. So maybe rather than saying overall education, you can look at something related to curriculum, something related to teaching methods, online learning, a new method of conducting, or leadership, something that is relatable to your situation. Okay, never look at very, very big picture and then start figuring out what can I do in education. You need to narrow down. From education, what is the next segment you can look into? Okay, you can look into this. Okay, let's say you can look into leadership. Within leadership, what you can look into? Is it leadership skill, leadership technique, and so on and so forth. That is how you can break down a research scope. Okay, so next thing you need to understand when you're breaking down research scope and so on, you also need to know whether it's fulfilling your specific goals or not. If you are like, a person, it's not wrong to do that. If you're a person just doing PhD to build your career and so on, then you don't have any specific goals. Like I don't have a motivation to achieve something. I just want to do a research and, get my PhD, which is totally fine. Okay, which is totally fine. So you need to know then within that study, what would be the goal? Whether can you meet those goals or not? Is it possible or not? Why I say that? Because without you having that projection, it's sometimes very hard to know whether your methodology will work or not. Do you have the necessary respondents and sampling or not? That also you need to figure out. Okay, let's say if it is a no, it doesn't fulfill the goal, or I cannot get the necessary methodology, sampling doesn't work, respondents are all super VIPs, I cannot get access to them and so on, then you need to deep dive within the same area to find a different gap. Okay, find a different gap. So finding a different gap would be what I'll teach in the upcoming slide. Okay, so from here we can break down and see what other angles we can look into within a topic. All right. So let's say if it is a yes, I can fulfill my goals already. But next thing you need to understand, is it unique? Is it novel? You need to understand this very clearly. Because despite it being interesting, a PhD topic, it fulfills your goal and so on. But if it is already done or something similar already conducted as part of some research somewhere, then it is not unique and it is not novel. It is not different from current studies. So this is a problem. Okay, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. If you remember, wheel had been the same shape from centuries ago. So there is no point for you to reinvent the wheel because you won't be able to sell the idea. Same thing here. You have to be different from the current studies. Let's say if it's not unique and novel, let's say it's a no, you cannot find anything that is unique, then probably the area is overexploited. Okay, what is overexploited? Overexploited is an area where a lot of things is going on, but there are also a lot of researchers working on it. So for you to establish a new idea is not going to be easy. Okay, it's not going to be easy. Example, human resource. Is it bad? No. Overexploitation is not bad. I wouldn't say it's a good thing and it's not a bad thing. But it's a very hot area. So when it's a very hot area, a lot of people will go into it. There'll be like a sugar rush. A lot of people go into it. An example, human resources everywhere. Okay, you go from engineering sector to government sector to academic sector to micro enterprises to public listed company. Everywhere there is human resource. So a lot of people tend to do research in human resource area. When that happens, over exploitation happens, and you tend to run out of idea. You'll be like, I want to do this, someone did already. I want to do that, someone did already. So that is where, rather than having critical thinking, you have to start implementing creative thinking. What is creative thinking? As part of creative thinking, I will share in the next slide what is creative observation. Okay, next slide. I'll teach you this technique, how to apply this. Okay, now let's say you already found something unique and novel. Okay, then there's definitely opportunity for new contribution and you can start your engine already. Okay. Now, overall process of that topic exploration, how to go through those steps. Okay, how to actually crunch it through. So firstly, you need to pick a topic or questions. Okay, that you want to really focus into, that you badly want to find answer. So how to start, once you already know a topic or question or things that you want to explore, you can start with Google Scholar. It is awesome, but it has its limitations. What are the limitations? Okay, Google Scholar will give you Q1 journal to Q4 journal in all indexing. That means you will get Scopus, you will get Web of Science, you will get PubMed, everything. You get everything Google Scholar. And you also will get predatory journals. I believe all of you know what is predatory journals. That is something that you don't want to read and cite in your journal. But then you may ask, Dr. MDPI recently been being labeled as predatory, but it is being indexed in Scopus and Web of Science. Yes, but it is still being what they call the index in Scopus and Web of Science means you can still cite it and you can still argue that the paper is good. And predatory means is just a belief. Okay, there is no official body saying that it is predatory journal. From now we are ruling out MDPI, no more an official journal. That is a different story. That never happened. Only Web of Science, so far, I don't know whether it's true or rumors, they kicked out 2 journals from MDPI, got like hundreds of journals. Only 2 were kicked out. I'm not necessarily supporting MDPI as a good journal, but there are many good papers in MDPI that you can definitely cite. Okay, when I say predatory, that it means it's explicitly predatory. What are some of the criteria? They might be not indexed. Okay, they might fake indexing. You see some website, they'll put the impact factor 15, impact factor 14. Okay, they'll put there. But then once you go to Web of Science and you check, it is not even indexed in Web of Science. But then there is impact factor. That is all cheating lah. Okay, so and they a certain journal might this one you might not know lah, as part of literature review, you might not know unless you publish in those journals. You submit for review, they will say accept already. But to proceed further, give you all the comments to address, pay first. Then we'll give you the money. When this kind of things happens, when you hear around for this kind of journals, try not to read those journals. They are all very, very 100% money-centric journals. They are not. All journals are money-centric. Let me explain to you. Some people really hates Frontiers, MDPI because they charge a lot. Actually, all journals charge. There's no free journal in this world, except it comes from universities. Like example, UMK, University of Malaysia Kelantan, they have JEB, they have what they call that, qualitative research. But then if you turn, they are free. Those two journals are free. We've been editing those journals before they go into Scopus soon. If you look at journals like Pertanika, they are university driven, UPM driven, but still they charge you amount of money to run their journal. Else, you might ask, Elsevier, Taylor, Francis, Wiley, all Sage, all these journals are free. What? Emerald also. They are not free. They are subscription basis. That means you don't pay the money. Your university actually pays to them on yearly basis to subscribe to their journals. So that's how they make their money. Nothing is free. No journals are free. MDPI is taking that money from you upfront and then they make it open access. So they don't need to rely on universities to get subscription. Elsevier, on the other hand, Elsevier, Taylor, Francis, and so on, they're all very well-known journals. So one way or another, universities will subscribe to them, so they don't need to really make open access to sell their journals. However, Elsevier also got Helion, Sage got Sage Open, Taylor Francis has his own open access. These are still open access journals that you have to 100% pay. Okay, so one way or another, they are making good amount of money. There is no free journal in this world except some universities provide it for free. Okay, then if Google Scholar I cannot use, I'm not saying you don't use, I'm just saying when you use Google Scholar, make sure you know the journals that you're reading are legit, indexed, good quality, or even non-indexed. Usually if non-indexed, they won't charge you money. So when you check a journal you read, where you feel it's very relevant to you, and then you check there is no publication fee. Those are the indications that they cannot be predatory journal. They're not charging because they want more papers so that they can get into Scopus. Those are reliable journals that you can read. So on the other hand, I would also advise you to stick to Web of Science or Scopus searches. This one for sure you're reading journals that are actually indexed in Scopus. So even if you go for your Viva or you go to your supervisor said this journal that you cited are all predatory, you can still justify saying that they are actually Web of Science and Scopus indexed. And that is why I'm reading them through. Okay? If in case you don't know how to use Web of Science, you don't know how to use Scopus for literature review, go and watch my video. Okay, I've given very, very detailed explanation. You can click in my link tree again. I've shared this link. Let me share again. Okay, you can store the link because I see a lot of new joiners. So you can click this particular, I've shared the link in the chat box. You can click this link, free video classes. You can scroll down to watch these two classes. Literature review, Web of Science, literature review, Scopus. The databases, how to actually use them, how to filter and so on. Okay, next thing. Once the database had been decided, you need to choose keywords. What keywords you're going to use? What are the related terms when you search? And how you're going to build your strings? And what operators you're going to use? Okay, so watch my videos to understand better. Once you build the search string, then after you search, while you're searching, you can also check out for latest thesis, published thesis, already graduated. You can look for limitation of study. It has to be within your scope, within your area of research, obviously. You can look for limitation of study, future study, assumptions taken in research papers and theses. Because this will give you the very, very straightforward gap. What the author never did before this. Something that you can start exploring as well. And then from the search, you can start reading also review papers. I always advise you to start with review papers. Don't start with empirical papers first. Start with review papers, systematic scoping, narrative review, and so on. As long as you find gaps, go for latest 3 years, but go in descending order. That means go from 2023, 2022, 2021, and so on and so forth. Okay? Once you have done all this, then finally you can read empirical papers. Why empirical papers is the final choice? If you don't know what is the gap going to be, there is actually very little point for you to look at empirical results because you don't even know your topic yet. Once somewhat you know that this is what you're going to look at, then you can start looking at actual results from empirical papers. Empirical papers means paper with data. Okay, collected data, experimental, quantitative, qualitative, mathematical modeling, simulation, whatever lah, that you have data to write the paper. Okay, then finally number 7, you triangulate the information you synthesize from steps 4, 5, and 6 to formulate a credible problem and research gap. Okay? Now, after doing all this, I still cannot find my research gap because the area is overexploited. So how to create new PhD research gaps and topics from an existing study? Okay, I'm going to give you this example. Okay, I like this topic, so I'm going to give you this as an example. It might not be relevant to your area, but it is an area that you can easily understand, no matter which background you are from. So retention and development of Generation Y employees. Okay, so what is retention? Retention means I want to keep the employees. I don't want them to go. And how to develop them so that they stay. This is specifically for Generation Y employees or millennials lah, because they tend to jump jobs. Now, I am interested in this topic, but as I study, there are already a lot of people talking about it. So I cannot find the next gap. What to do next, like how to make it more interesting, how to actually improve the retention and so on. I cannot find any more gaps. So what I did, I applied creative observation technique and also analytical idea mining. So again, same title, same objectives, nothing changed. But I have 5 different observations. I'm not going to look these through. This will be all in the second class, more detail into that. So we're going to skip all of this. We are only going to look at CO1, Creative Observation 1. My question is, we are talking about retaining and developing Generation Y employees, but we are not looking at the employers. We are not looking at organization. Because they are actually spending more resources, more money, more effort now to just retain their manpower. Last time they never had the problem. And since MCO, a lot of business are struggling. So while struggling, how can they give more attention to the human resource? Because you can see large scale retrenchment is going on in the US, and it will follow to all other countries slowly. Okay, there will be a chain effect, chain reaction lah. So how can organizations sustain doing this extra stuff now rather than focusing into business development? They have to focus on they have to reposition their resources to be able to give this retention program, development program, do extra thing, extra benefit, and so on and so forth. So my question is, rather than looking at how to retain them, my creative observation is actually the other side. Okay, the other way around totally. I want to look at what would be the impact on organization or employers by giving special care to Gen Y. That's what I want to see. So I don't, this study doesn't really care about whether Gen Y is staying or not. I just want to see how can organization actually sustain through these additional packages that they're providing. Okay. So I have built a search tree. This is called a search tree with the keywords. These are the keywords. Okay. My first question to all the participants, okay, all please focus here. Stop doing whatever else you're doing. Focus here. From this, let me repeat again. This is a search string. This whole thing is a search string. It's a string lah. Then you have keywords. What are keywords? These are keywords. Organizational impact, Generation Y, millennials. Okay, now, from this, I need to ask, what are these? If you know, you can answer in the chat box. If you don't know, you can just say don't know. It's okay. Don't worry. If you don't know, it's totally fine. I also don't know about this years back. Okay. So whoever knows can tell what it is. Whoever don't know, just tell don't know. So I can explain more on it. Right? Let's wait for everyone to answer. It takes a lot of courage to say don't know. I respect that. It's important to learn how to say don't know. Then only we can learn more. But that doesn't mean we can say don't know all the time lah. Okay, just kidding. Okay, so what do you guys think? What it is? What is this and this or? For those who don't know, for those who answered, thank you very much. For those who don't know, these are known as Boolean operators. Okay. Do we need it? If you don't want, it's okay. But by using this, you actually save a lot of your time. Massive amount of time. I never used this at all during my PhD. That was 10 years ago. I never had this Boolean. Now we have all this, which is very, very good. It's a good progress forward. Why? Because if you don't have this, and then you go to Google Scholar and search, okay, you will be getting, okay, let's say you don't have this. You are just typing this down. Okay, so you're typing organizational impact, generation Y, space millennials. You will get papers that is individually connected to only organizational impact. You'll get papers individually connected to only generation Y, and then individually connected to only millennials. And then you'll also get papers, that means they're not related to each other, totally not related. And then you'll also get papers that are related to each other, this, and this. Okay, and then you'll also get papers that has all three keywords in it. So what it means you're wasting all this space, wasting all this. That means instead of actual 300 papers, 3,000 papers that you're supposed to get, you will be getting like 12,000 or 20,000 papers. So that is, you can calculate how much time you're wasting. Because imagine you need to go through tab by tab to get the paper that you want, because now you have gotten papers from every angle of these three keywords. So, but when you include this, you specifically saying your search engine that I only want a paper that has this word and this word, or this word and this word. That's why I say and or this. That means this or this. As far as I know, there is no any difference. Capital or small letter, I don't think any difference. So by doing this, you'll get only papers of this, only papers of this, and or all of three. So you have already reduced by a factor of 2. That means instead of say 12,000 papers, you might get 6,000 papers or 5,000 papers. That is what we want. We want to be as efficient as possible. We don't want to waste our time reading papers that are not related to us at all. If they're talking about organizational impact generally, without mentioning generation Y, you cannot even cite that paper. Any tips to just search for review papers instead of getting both empirical review? Okay, what I would do is I will put organizational impact and generation Y or millennials. I also maybe include another word here, systematic review. Systematic review and organizational impact and generation Y or millennials. Maybe lah. I haven't, that one we have to do a test and trial run and see which one suits very well. Okay, because sometimes I also get confused, but you can try it and see lah if it works or not. You can put systematic review, you can put SLR, you can put review, you can put a lot of different, you can put bibliographic, you can put scoping, all those are review papers lah. Okay, so now, creative observation I've taught you guys already. Now, when you want to apply that creative observation, a new idea, a new angle, you need to do analytical idea mining. What is analytical idea mining? Okay, it's a very simple thing. Let's go to Web of Science. Okay, so this is Web of Science literature search. So we have the first topic. So this is how you basically conduct your search. We have 3 keywords. Okay, and then we have and or. So first one is organizational impact. Second one is Gen Y. Then we have millennials. So organizational impact and Gen Y or millennials. I don't add any date range, okay, because I want to see the entire timeline. So I click search. Okay. So from here we get 3,112 results from all databases. So let's look at the papers we got. Organization learning and Gen Y employees commitment, definitely managing millennials, the effect of work fulfillment, job characteristic, and employee retention, Gen Y employees. You can see you go straight into the topic. Now from this, I want to analyze if these results actually, this keyword, this search string is actually a good area to research or not. So very simple. We use data. Now data is everything. If you know how to use data to get result, you are one step ahead, or at least few steps ahead lah. So you click analyze results there earlier. Let me show again. Click this analyze results. Download to choose publication yes. Okay, so you analyze results, choose publication yes. Okay. From this is the total number of papers published versus years. That means from 2014 until 2023, which is the recent year. What you can understand from this? These are total number of papers published. What is your observation? Do share with me. For this particular search string lah. Okay, publications getting slower. Nothing left to right. The research trend become less popular. Okay. Go on. It's okay. It's okay if you're wrong. It's okay if you're not. Actually, there is no right and wrong in this. It's all individual observation. And then based on that, you can decide, do I want to write a grant in this area? Do I want to write a new publication? Or do I need to get a new PhD student in this area? Do I want to start my PhD topic in this area? Based on this graph itself, you can decide, is it a timely topic or not? So anyone else wants to try? Okay. So we get answers from Dr. Saida told, publication getting slower. Very logical. Amran say nothing left to right. Logical also. Izzat, the research trend become less popular. Okay. Sophia, much more research conduct within this topic area. Okay. Some of you might think that this area is not hot anymore because 2023 is very low. Okay, 2023 is still a year in progress. So we cannot judge based on this. But there are also it's also very logical because you might tell, no, if you look at the graph, 2018, 2019, there's a huge jump. Similarly, the previous year, there's a huge jump. Okay. Yeah, it is not, Nurul, it is not. They arrange based on the highest number. So you just have to reduce according to that. I don't think you can do the setting here. I've never tried, to be fair. Yeah. So I don't see any other options here. Okay. So from here, you can see 18 to 19 huge jump, 17 to 18 huge jump, 16 to 17 huge jump. But suddenly 2020 and 19 only small amount of increment. Small amount. Then 2020, 21 there's actually a drop. 21 to 22 there's a big drop. So from this, are we telling ourselves that Gen Y have changed, the entire generation have changed their style in the last 3 years, that they don't jump jobs anymore very quickly? They actually be very loyal and they stick around. Suddenly a change of behavior? I don't think so. Now we have to go back to the situation. That is a logical answer. The situation here is 2020 MCO, 2021 MCO, most of the place in the world. 2019 nothing. That's why there's a huge jump, a huge increase. 2022 we are still in April, so maybe a lot of papers that is at early access now in 2022 maybe haven't got into Web of Science yet. But even then, 2022 is the first year that is open up, and people never really publish a lot. They busier traveling because they appreciate the life and they didn't want lockdown. So that could be why these numbers actually never add up. Because it doesn't make sense. There is a sudden change of attitude towards the whole generation that people don't want to research in it anymore. Okay? Or maybe it's oversaturated, but I don't think so, because it happens exactly after MCO only. Before that, it was rising very quickly. You can see the gradient here. So that is how you do. analytical idea mining. You can download this data. You can even plot it in your own Excel. You can send it as part of your research proposal or your grant proposal. You can send this kind of information to show how credible and timely this topic is. You can also do this in Scopus. Scopus has it as well. So if you don't have Web of Science, you can even do it in Scopus as well. Okay. Now, in case if UITM is not subscribed to Web of Science, which most universities are not because it's very expensive, students want to access or staff want to access Web of Science, you can access it through UTM, USM, Unimas, UTP. Okay, from all the classes I've teach so far, I know confirm these 5, they have it. UPM don't have. Okay, UMP used to have. The rest, I don't think they have. Okay. All right. So that's how you do it. Any questions so far? Any questions? Is everything clear so far? Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Dr. Saidatul. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, next thing. Now, in order to do all of this, to enable all of this, you need to find a research gap. Especially overexploitation takes place, you don't even know what gap to look for. So now we need, in order to solve that problem, we need to know what research gaps we're going to look into. Okay, what are the research gaps that we can? One study can be looked into 5 to 6 different angles, different research gaps. So what are those? So we have evidence gap, okay, we have empirical gap, we have knowledge gap, we have methodological gap, theoretical gap, and population gap. Okay, so in order to explain these gaps and which one you can select and pick and select, we go with Elon Musk's style of synthesizing a problem. How would he synthesize these gaps? How do I explain this to you? And I'm going to use Elon Musk style. So first of all, evidence gap. It is a gap where research finding, that means the current belief or understanding, contradicts the widely accepted conclusions. Example, for the past many years, we've been telling nasi lemak is unhealthy. Suddenly there's a study coming out, just suddenly a study came out saying nasi lemak is very healthy. Okay, everyone can eat it. Morning, afternoon, night, no problem. They will live longer. So that is a contradicting finding. So you need to really make that into a paper easily. Okay, quite easily actually. If both sources, I mean the contradicting statements are all coming from high impact papers, you can easily look into a new topic already. Then it's an evidence gap. So in the name of Elon Musk the Wise, when the whole world was okay with gasoline engine, Elon Musk presented contradicting finding on the gasoline engine as a base to introduce electric vehicle. So I believe all of you know who is Elon Musk. He's a very, very famous billionaire who actually turned his problems into billions. Okay. So that is widely accepted conclusion. So you need evidence to prove that. Next thing, empirical. Okay, empirical is just getting more data, add on, new framework, new qualitative area, new experimental, add more ideas and more novelty and get new results. That's empirical gap. Then you have, this is very straightforward. Then you have knowledge gap. There is a scarcity of knowledge to design and build electric vehicles. That was the knowledge gap. So in this case, Elon Musk and his team designed new methods and techniques to design and manufacture EVs. So that means even there is a problem, if you don't have the necessary knowledge to solve it, then that itself can become a gap. Example, in order to enable IR 4.0, everyone must have knowledge in artificial intelligence area. So how do you build a framework to educate millennials for artificial intelligence? So that is a knowledge gap that you're looking into that is not related to IR 4.0. That is totally out of a different scope for IR 4.0. So we always think about implementing IR 4.0. But what is missing for IR 4.0? Knowledge gap. We don't know if our youths be able to handle IR 4.0 or 5.0 or everything else that is coming. So that is a knowledge gap. Then comes methodological gap. Knowledge and methodology are different in the sense that even if Elon Musk finds the right engineers, the next gap that he could face is the right method to implement all the knowledge. Okay? So that means although there is knowledge now, but how do you apply those knowledge to create a new research solution? That is called methodological gap. So when quantity or quality is not when quantity or quality is not sufficient anymore, then we come up with mixed method or mixed with experiment. Okay. Next thing, theoretical gap. Okay. Theoretical gap, this is very much academic lah. So anything theoretical gap, it is theoretical gap. Like anything is related to theory, mathematical theory ke, economical theory ke, social theory ke, business theories ke, whatever gap you want to fill up for theories, that is all theoretical gap lah. It's pretty general. Population gap are usually used for marketing related research or policy related research. So that is how one study you can break into different gaps, but not necessarily only one gap. You can combine different gaps. Okay. Now, how do you go and find all these gaps? Okay. These are the methods. First, citation analysis, then content analysis, meta-analysis, systematic review, future research limitation. Okay. So here, what is citation analysis? Okay, let's go back to the same topic. Okay, retention and development of Generation Y employees. So I'm going to apply citation analysis. So what I'll do is to find research gap. So I go back to Google Scholar. Google Scholar is good for snowballing. I mean, what do you call that? Citation analysis. Okay, it's also known as forward snowballing. So this is the topic. I click search. Okay. This first paper is the benchmark paper that I'm looking at. Okay, example, this is the first paper in the area that is talking about this, and therefore this is my benchmark area. Most of the research will have a benchmark paper. That is your guiding paper, your guiding principle. So from this paper, I want to see since 2018 and after 2018, okay, 2018 and after 2018, all the way to present time, how had this research evolved? What had happened, the historical outcome. That is very important to know so that you know the progress very clearly. So what I do, I click this. This is called forward snowballing. All the latest papers that had cited this old paper. So I click cited by. Okay. From here, you can see these are all the latest papers, and what you can do, you can sort by date. So you go from the latest 2023 all the way to the old to see the current trend. That is called citation analysis, and you download the most relevant papers for you to read. After that, once you have downloaded, you start conducting content analysis. Okay, content analysis. After citation analysis, the notes will be provided. Okay, so I'm going to give you this paper which explains on the process of content analysis. However, I'm not going to go into detail because later on during the paper crunching, hands-on, I will teach you how to do content analysis. Okay, but these notes also I will share with you for additional knowledge on how to actually synthesize a paper. Next one, meta-analysis, usually a very, very complex method, not easy, but it's very effective, okay? So therefore, for those who are interested, I'll provide this very important paper as a note on conducting meta-analysis. Okay, it's a Nature paper, impact factor 63, I think. It's a super paper. Einstein published some of his papers in this journal, Nature, all right? How to do meta-analysis? Define clear research question. Find empirical papers with similar scope or question. For meta-analysis, you need to find empirical papers. Categorize variables that are related. Run statistical analysis of differences, means and edges. Not as simple as above. Okay, but it's very, very powerful. You are literally using, again, data analytics knowledge to crunch all the current numbers to see if there's any gap or not. Okay, this one is the obvious one lah. You read review paper, especially systematic review, and you conduct scoping review on systematic review. Okay, now the question might come, why can't I conduct systematic review on systematic review? If you would have joined my class last year, my third and fourth classes last year, you would have understood the difference between scoping and systematic review, but it's okay. Let me explain also. But you guys can also go and watch from my playlist all these 3 classes: systematic review, systematic scoping review, and systematic LR, and Prisma 2020. Okay, why scoping review? Systematic review or Prisma protocol as part of systematic review were never designed to review papers. Okay, they are designed to review empirical papers. So after they review all the empirical papers, you can apply scoping review technique, which is Prisma SCR. Prisma SCR, okay, this is normal Prisma, this is Prisma SCR. To review papers. Scoping review, you can review everything. You can review paper, you can review papers, you can review empirical papers, you can review industrial papers, you can review white papers, many different things. Okay, so that is what you can do. So from when you review papers, you tend to get more gaps, more things that not been done. And finally, the easiest of all, you can use future research or limitations from latest theses, latest papers to see what had not been done yet. Okay, this is one of the easiest way out lah. Okay. Okay, now coming to this framework. Okay, I usually explain this in all my classes lah. Okay, so how many of you here never seen this framework before? My last year was 11 steps. I've further evolved it. Now it became 12 steps. PhD or master's processes. How many of you never seen this diagram before? Please do reply in the chat box, yeah? Because if all of you know that, I won't explain this, so I'll go to the next slide immediately. Okay, so we still have quite a number of candidates who doesn't know this diagram. Okay, this diagram was created by me quite some time ago, 2020, also MCO time, because I sat down and think one day. I was thinking, during my PhD, while I was conducting in the UK, I always ask my supervisor, when do I finish? When do I finish? What I need to do to finish? What I need to do to finish? So I didn't know that you can design a journey, okay, like things you need to finish so that you can finish your PhD or master's. I never had that 10 years ago. So I always wish that someone could do it, and I end up deciding that, you know what, I will do it myself. So I came up with this diagram. Initially it was only 11 steps, then I developed it to 12 steps. This is also applicable for masters, no problem, don't worry about it. And not only that, this is also very helpful for supervisors, whereby this diagram also has publication extraction point. Okay, I've added more information now. Last time diagram got no this information all, like what papers to write. So when supervisors are supervising their supervisee, their students, they can pre-plan what publications they want to write from the thesis itself. And while writing the proposal, they can already start working towards it. This is what I'm promoting, or I'm encouraging, not only in UiTM, but the whole Malaysia. And the results of that is very, very fruitful. Very, very fruitful. We get loads of systematic review papers now to proofread, to coach, to consult, and conceptual paper also. And a lot of them are enabling themselves to publish in Scopus. More papers are increasing nowadays. Okay, thanks to this one super diagram lah. And not only this, these processes had already been implemented. I've already trained, I think, up to 60 supervisors in USIN. I'm going to train supervisors in UTP. And I'm going to also train supervisors in tailors, how to go through this whole journey lah. Of course, junior supervisors lah, we don't go to very experienced supervisors because they already have their process. Okay? So these processes are broken down into 2 stages: PhD proposal, PhD thesis. Okay, two different steps, or 2 different phases. Okay, that's the right word. 2 different phases. Okay, how do you start? Masters or PhD, always start with 10 pages proposal. Don't start with chapters 1 to 3 immediately. Why so? Because if anything goes wrong while you're writing 50 to 80 pages, whether you went out of alignment from your supervisor's topic or supervisor's interest, or it doesn't make sense, the whole proposal, I've seen many students scrapping 100 pages, 120 pages, 90 pages, 60 pages of proposal because it is not clear, not tangible, no problem statement, no gap, not aligned with supervisor's interest. Many concerns like this. Okay, because when you write a lot, you don't engage supervisor, you tend to go in your own journey, and that might deviate from the actual cause of interest. It happens a lot. Okay, a lot. So that's why I always advise write a 10 pages proposal first. Very simple, not very simple, very compact, compressed 10 pages proposal to inform your supervisor exactly what you're doing. Why I always emphasize on that? Because no matter who coaches you, no matter who consults you, no matter who teaches you externally, the ultimate powerful person, the ultimate leader in your PhD or master's journey is your supervisor. Never, ever forget that. Okay, so you must always do what is within the interest of your supervisor. Of course, you can discuss, I want to do this, doctor. Then your supervisor say, no, you do this. That is fine. We are in adult education. We are not in school anymore. Okay, so there must be a certain degree of negotiation on how you want to conduct things and how your supervisor wants to conduct things. That is healthy. Okay, that is actually very healthy. If you go only one way supervisor to a student, but that means the student is not growing. They cannot think on their own. The whole purpose of doing PhD or Masters by Research is to become independent researcher. Okay, independent individual. So we can think on our own and build on our own. But that requires very strict guidance. Okay, in the sense that your supervisor must know where you are heading towards. And that is where 10 pages proposal plays a huge role. Okay, 10 pages proposal comes up with introduction, background, introduction, background lah, problem statement, RORQ, significance of study, literature review, theory, mathematical theory, economical theory, if no theory, then you can use a principle, fundamentals, whatever lah, the underlying component, okay, the underlying theory or underlying component, then your solution can be in the form of conceptual framework, qualitative description, just give me a moment, Fatin. Qualitative description, experimental system, quasi-experimental system, many other forms. Okay, so solution. Then finally, methodology. How do you intend to conduct it? That is all compressed under 10 pages. So your supervisor will know, okay, this is what you're trying to do. Okay, it doesn't make sense. No, take a different direction. So at least you only scrap 10 pages. You don't scrap the whole proposal, the whole 180 pages or 100 pages proposal. And at the same time, if they're interested, they will tell you, you know what, I need more information. The gap is not clear. The direction is okay, but the gap is not clear. Then you move to step number 2. Full proposal, chapters 1 to 3, 50 to 80 pages. Then only you move to this. Once you move to that, there will be several revision stages. Supervisor will check, come back, improve that, improve here, keep going. Once it's all approved, there are 2 different things you can do concurrently. One, you send for proofreading, very, very important, because I have seen a lot of students who never proofread, who never have structured presentation in their proposal, the language presentation, language representation in their proposal. Then during proposal defense, your internal committee might not be able to comprehend or understand the purpose of your proposal. They cannot understand the impact of it, the goal of it. Okay? So, when that happens, your proposal defense itself would be very tough, because you have to understand your proposal defense is only conducted upon you physically or online after they read your proposal. So your proposal is the first contact point. Then only you become the second contact point. So that is a very big risk. So must make sure that your language is well presented, represented, very clear, very structured, very well written as well. Okay. And most importantly, we as a proofreading firm, we provide language warranty and certificate as well, lifetime language warranty to all of our clients. That means whether it's a journal, thesis, proposal, research grant, annual report, whatever lah, you have lifetime language warranty as long as you don't make any changes in the content. That means if you submit as it is, reviewer say language needs improvement, examiner say language needs improvement, supervisor says language need improvement, we will improve without charging you extra. Okay, that's our commitment, that's our warranty. Okay, while you are proofreading, you can also look into producing 2 different journals here. What are the journals you can produce? You can write chapter 2, systematic review paper. That is what I taught last year's class number 3. And then chapter 1 to 3, you can write conceptual paper. Conceptual paper is not only belongs to social science or business or quantitative research per se. Conceptual paper, I'll show you later towards the end of the class. Even engineering from UTM, last year they published SLR conceptual paper. So you can already fulfill your graduation requirement, or supervisor already can start generating very powerful paper right into here rather than waiting all the way here. This is already very late. We want to start producing at very, very early stage. Okay? And another important thing, please remember, review papers gives you more citation than empirical papers. If you want to build your H index, focus a lot on writing review papers. Next, preparation for defense. Before you go for defense, make sure you get sufficient mock defense from your supervisor. If you need external consultants to mock defend, to test your power, you can also approach me. We do a lot of mock defense. We also teach how to build PowerPoint. About our ratio is always 60-40 or 70-30. That's how we will teach students. That means 60 to 70% diagram, 30 to 40% wording. Why? Because you don't want to sit down and read your slide. You must present your diagram. That shows your understanding. After your proposal defense, finish your correction, major or minor, doesn't matter. All can be done. Okay, all can be corrected. Okay, but make sure you correct it before you go for data collection so that you know and finalized that your data collection phase is clear and good to go. Okay, and we specialize in NVivo, SPSS, Smart PLS, Amos, MATLAB, eView, Stata, and so on and so forth. Then finish your chapters 4 and 5. Then you focus on to step number 9, which is chapters 1 to 3 combined with chapters 4 and 5 to produce step number 9. Is it as simple as copy and pasting, doctor, like chapter 1 to 3 and 4 and 5 you put together? No, you need to do a lot of updating, references, expansion, synchronization, alignment, structuring everything back so that it becomes a book. Thesis, end of the day, must become a book. It must flow like a book. Then you can extract more papers here. But you don't need to worry as a student You don't need to worry whether this one how fast will be published, because you already covered your graduation requirements here way early into your research. And that means this one is bonus. You get more papers. I don't discourage to write more papers. Write as many as you can. It's all your work. Why you don't want to waste it? So all the data is publishable. Absolutely. Okay. And you can even write meta-analysis with your data as well. Then finally, your thesis, proofread again. Very, very, not again you have already aligned, you changed a lot of things along the way. You need to proofread again, because now it's even more crucial. You are giving your thesis to someone you don't know, external examiner. You must make sure that it's perfect, because it doesn't only represents your image, it represents your supervisor's image as well. Okay, you are going as a team. Your supervisor will be there supporting you during your viva. So make sure the thesis is well written, not only in terms of content, language as well. And finally, prepare for your viva, mock viva, same process as mock defense. Go for your viva, and then whatever correction you get, major or minor, all can be solved. Don't worry if you get major or minor. Major just gives you extra time. When we coach minor correction before, students got puzzled looking at minor correction. I've coached before. I also got puzzled myself. I asked this, are you sure this is minor correction? For me, seems like you're supposed to fail your viva. I've seen that before, honestly speaking. So it doesn't really matter. Major just gives you more time. What we don't want is reviva or failing. And finally, you are done. So this is your driven guideline. You might deviate here and there a bit. There's no harm. But at least this is a platform to tell you what you must do, or what you must do next at least. So how do we normally coach and consult through these processes, these 12 steps? sometimes we do, very rarely we do content commenting and online coaching. Online coaching we do, but content commenting very rare, because most of the supervisors who wants to talk to us about papers, most of the students who wants to talk about their papers, proposal and thesis, and supervisors about grants, usually they go for these two. Accelerated thesis consultancy or publication consultancy and so on, where we will build a very, very comprehensive coaching plan, step-by-step development of proposal or papers or grants and so on. Next thing, content editing for special cases only. So these are the two things that we will do. Okay, next thing is literature databases. Okay, so before we get into this, let's take a quick break. I know most of you are fasting, so I don't want to squeeze you through, give you time a bit to comprehend and to relax yourself, breathe a bit. Okay, it's not easy. So let's take a quick, I would say 5 minutes break lah. Okay, and then we shall regroup. So you can also synthesize all the information I've shared. And then if you have any questions, you can ask after our 5 minutes. Okay, we'll take 5. Okay. Okay, welcome back everyone. Let's continue. So now, let me just recap a bit. We have already checked on research gap, research topic, analytical idea mining, how to scout for topic, and then also we looked at 12 steps framework, the whole processes, when to publish, when to write paper, and then now we are going to look at a very, very important segment, literature databases. Where do you actually look for literature? This one quite important because not only getting the right literature is important, where to search is also very, very important. So these are all the databases out there that I have shortlisted, which are quite effective in searching for databases. And I've shortlisted all of them in my template. So you can download this template from my Telegram group. Okay, so it's right here. If you never joined the Telegram group, please let me know. I'll share the link again. You can search for template. Okay. No, sorry, search here. Template. You can download this here, literature search databases. Let me tag this. And then you can also download literature review summary. This is also important, literature review summary for today's class. This is also important for today's class, database comparison. Okay. So if you're not in the group, here is the link for you to be able to join lah. Okay. Azila, you can use that link. Okay. And this one is already URL linked. So you can just click and go to the database directly. Okay, but the next question you should ask is, so many databases to search. How long am I supposed to search and search and search? And when am I supposed to finalize my literature? Okay, very good question. And another important thing, please take note, ResearchGate is not a database. ResearchGate, if you're using it. ResearchGate is more of a social media for researchers. Some people do share PDF file, but not everyone. Okay, so you can go and look for PDF files, but it's not a database. Okay, now coming to how I have algorithmically list down all the databases. Okay, that are quite widely used lah. All of these, IEEE Explore, Science Direct, Emerald, PubMed, all of these databases are essentially lead back to Web of Science, Scopus, Google Scholar. These three will have access to all of this because end of the day, they all want to be indexed in these three major databases, including ABDC as well. But the only problem is these two are paid, but they are very high quality compared to Google Scholar. If you tell me Scopus got a lot of predatory, that is true. The most highest quality is always Web of Science, followed by Scopus, and then only Google Scholar. Okay, if you want to go individually, also can, but you'll be spending more time to look for the right database. Okay, and for those who want to learn how to search in Scopus or Web of Science, you can watch my video. I've taught you how to filter it through, especially for systematic review. Okay, Google Scholar, I'll be guiding you through in the next class, second class. Okay, let's go into hands-on paper crunching. One of the most important segment for today lah. We are going to explore how to use literature summary template. Okay, this template that I created some time ago, but for the first time, I'm going to teach how to use it. Okay, I've never taught this in the previous classes before. So I've segmentized how you can summarize a paper. Why is this important? I just read the paper, I type out everything lah. Why should I summarize? Well, this is to encourage for all the researchers who downloads a lot of paper. See, downloading paper can be very exciting. Okay, we all get very excited. We download, and then we create folder. We store. So many papers. We see also be like, wow, I'm so productive. But end up, many of us, we don't read the papers that are in our database. Okay, I think majority of you can't deny it. You all know who you are. Okay, so that is part and parcel of being a researcher lah. Okay, I also used to do that. Then I found a way how to not to do that anymore. Okay, so for those who are downloading and then putting all in a folder and feeling very good about it, you have to understand without reading it, there is no value for the paper. Yeah, remember that. So therefore, you must read the paper and don't store it all the time. So what is the steps you can take? You download the paper first. Don't download many lah. So download the ones that you want to read first. Download first, open it, don't save the paper. The moment you don't save the paper, you will have the fear that if my PC shuts down or you mistakenly close it, you lose out the paper and then you will be forced to go and search for the paper again. Unless you can trace through your downloads, like if your downloads are clean. But a lot of people download a lot of things every day, so your downloads will be quite messed up, your download folder lah. So, my advice, open it, read it, no matter how long it takes, maybe take few days, maybe take few hours. Summarize it through immediately. Every summary that you do for a paper is an added point for your matrix. So this individual information will become a row in your matrix. And next paper will become the second row. Next paper will become the third row. And your potential gap will become a column amongst all the papers that you are reading. So essentially, when you read through your matrix, you can easily understand where most of the gaps are. And how can you address all these gaps in a research topic? From there, you'll be able to extract out your essential idea that you can actually, what is actually lacking lah, big time. Okay, that's why matrix is very good. Matrix will give you the overall overview of your research area and the gaps and associated gaps lah. Okay, so how do you start? Literature review comprises of few steps. Today we're going to look at studying and summarizing. The upcoming classes will also look at summarizing, identifying and presenting. These are the steps of literature review. So I'm not going to go through this slide, okay, because how to read a paper, I'm going to explain to you literally today. But this slide is for people who never attend my class, so they can understand what to do. So let's read a paper together. We are going to look at this particular paper. This is one of my favorite papers. I always have referred to this paper. Okay, it was published in Web of Science, 18.958 impact factor. It is very, very high impact and ranked number 1 in this particular segment in the world amongst all Web of Science journal in this area. This journal is number 1. So that's how I normally look at the quality of paper before I read it. I analyze it actually. So you can check the quality of the paper in the journal website itself, or you can check in JCR. Both of these I will show you in the next class how to actually evaluate that. Okay. So what is this paper about? This paper is looking into information system capabilities. What is information system? It is all the apps, software, systems that are running on an architecture or your information technology lah. Okay, your computers in a firm, and how do you use it to improve a firm's performance? So literally, how do technology helps improve firm performance lah? Okay, and in this study, this information system are broken down into 3 elements: human resource, administrative, and infrastructure. Why three elements? These are three dimensions, three parameters, I would say, three variables also you can say. The necessary human resource capability to handle the system, apps, and utilize it to apply it and so on. The admin to manage the system, and the infrastructure to support the necessary system. So how does these three components help towards firm performance? And this study in particular introduced decision-making performance and business process performance between these two components, and they analyze how these three works with these two to support firm performance. So essentially, for those who understand the language of framework, this is your independent variable. The three earlier was the dimensions. This is your dependent variable. Then you have your mediators here. Okay? Now, let's start. So we are going to read abstract. What is the meaning by synthesis in SLR? Can I help to explain simple way? Synthesis means, I would say, analyzing through the paper. How do you synthesize every papers that you're going to read, and how you're going to interpret or discuss the content of the paper? That is called synthesizing. Basically, you're analyzing. Okay, you're going into the details. All right? So first we read abstract, then we read conclusion, and then a conclusion limitation. Then we read introduction, problem statement, all the way to discussion. Okay, and then we'll come back to the summary again. So this is the paper. I've annotated, actually that column was important. Let me open that again. Okay, so let's go to the abstract. This paper is from Turkey. So we read the abstract first. This study contributes to the extant literature. Basically, the first line is introducing what this study is all about. Okay, so we are looking at information system related capabilities and their effect of firm performance. And for these two, we are proposing this solution. This is the solution that we are proposing in the study. We are proposing to use resource-based view theory, and then we are introducing decision-making performance and business process performance to improve this overall problem. Okay, well, how are we doing it? We are using structural equation modeling with a sample of 204 firms in Turkey. Okay, that is the methodology. There comes the first question. Okay, before I go into this, I need to explain one more thing which I almost forgot. What am I doing here? So we have all the papers stored in the folder. We download, we store, right? Why do we store? Because we find very little time to read it. Okay, so I'm going to teach you a technique to deconstruct a paper very quickly. Okay, I'm not telling this is the best method to do it, but this is essential for people who are not reading it very frequent, not reading papers very frequently, because my theory is always the lesser you read, the longer your PhD is going to take. The lesser you read, the lesser publication you can write, because you don't have new ideas. You're not sure what is going on currently. So reading is literally equal to completing your PhD in a nutshell. In a nutshell, of course, you got many other things, but without reading is like the input into the system. Whatever system that you're trying to build, whether a framework, policy, experimental system, engineering, algorithm, whatever. Reading is like you're inputting the resources, then only you can get the necessary output. So if you don't have the input, unfortunately, output will be slow. Okay, so I'm going to quickly teach you how to deconstruct a paper so that you can synthesize all your papers after this class as effectively as possible. My first question from this abstract, when I arrive at this point, the methodology, my first question is the sample size enough? And is the demographic limited? Because they only see Turkey, they only use 204 firms. Is that enough? Don't know. Let's see. Next thing. The test results obtained confirm proposed serially mediating model according to which decision-making performance and business process performance play a critical mediating role in the human resource and administrative related IS capabilities and firm performance. So they're telling that the information system got three elements, right? The paper is reporting that the HR element, administrative element gives very good result. Okay, it's really improving. But however, they also found that infrastructure, the third dimension, is not actually improving the firm performance at all. And for me, it is senseless, okay, Maybe at this time it was sensible for this particular paper, but my question now arises as a new research gap is how in the world infrastructure is not contributing, because your entire system is running on the information technology infrastructure. So does that mean that I can use all the computers from German World War II to implement all the software and will still improve the firm performance? Because since infrastructure is not really positively contributing, see, that is how you have to think when you read. Don't take everything as it is, okay, as it's given. That's not the way. You need to ask questions when you read. Okay, so those are the two questions I have from my abstract. Now I go to conclusion directly. I don't go through the content yet. So I go to conclusion, which is here. So I'm not going to read through the conclusion. For me, the important portion here is I want to look at the limitation, whether there is limitation or not. So it is here. Limitation and future research direction. So here we go. All right. Why I'm telling that? Here will tell you most of the research gap that this paper actually failed to address. But I'm not going to read this through. I'll share this in my own research gap summary later. All right. Now we go to introduction. Introduction is an important section to deconstruct effectively, because there are many portions in introduction. Actually, introduction is not just introduction. There is a lot of story going on in introduction. Introduction obviously always starts with introduction. It is the most obvious thing. All right, up till here is introduction. Nothing much there. If you don't understand what they are doing, read that part. That's it. If you already know, then you can quickly glance and go to the next part. Now, this is all background. How do I know all this background? Because there is statistical numbers. Usually when there are statistical numbers, that is where they are actually attempting to draw the background for the research by putting in all the necessary data. Okay. Nurul asked a very good question. What if the abstract is poorly written? Paper at this level, okay, that's what I'm saying, Web of Science. Paper at this level, usually the abstract has to be very well written. Usually lah. There might be outliers, there might be horrible papers. I've seen it before also. But majority of them would be good. So we go based on the majority here lah. All right. So this is the background. It's also important to look at the background because the case study must be sensible. And you can also use these background numbers, statistical numbers for your own proposal and thesis. I'm not asking you to copy the paragraph. I'm asking you to take the numbers and go back to the original references. See whether the numbers are usable for you or not when you're writing your background. Okay. Then following that, introduction, background, next thing would be all motivation or rationale to the entire study. These are all motivation and rationale because you must make sense on why you're actually conducting this study in the first place. That is very, very important. All right. So in this paper, they already explain why they actually do, why they have to actually explore ITIS and firm performance. They have explained the rationale of it. So here you can see, check the rationale of the study and literature matrix if given on what the paper focuses on. Now go to the matrix. So we go to the matrix here. Okay, here, as part of your research gap drive or problem statement drive, it is not only enough for you to read this paper. You must also go to its literature and have a look at it. This is where we always miss the major element. You need to do the backward snowballing here. This is called backward snowballing. Just now I taught you forward snowballing when you want to explore whether the topic is good or not. But when you already decided, you must also do backward snowballing to see where the paper originated from, whether they build the whole idea the credibility is there or not, because you have to understand the authors won't reveal all the information in this paper. They only show you what they want you to show, what they want to show you and what they want you to read at their convenience. Always understand that. Don't take the paper and the information at face value. You as a researcher, you must investigate more deeply. So as part of section 1, multi-layer reading is very important. When you see a literature review or literature matrix, go through the paper, see what are the research gaps that were not addressed by this set of papers. Okay. So if you look at this, In the matrix, all important literature will be summarized. Multi-layer reading means explore the cited papers. If you don't understand the theories, do another layer of reading on the theories. Here you can deduce the important variables of focused area and the theories, then go back to the introduction. So you can go through these papers, you can try to understand how the theories were related, and so on and so forth. Then you go back to introduction again. Okay, now from here, based on all this rationale, motivation, and matrix, we want to see how they are forming their entire idea, this particular paper. Then you need to, okay, in order to criticize a paper, you must understand perfectly what the paper is doing. Okay, so here is what they're doing. Some of these studies have captured a direct positive relationship between IT capabilities and firm performance. Various authors such as Che, Ko, and Prabhutok have pointed that IT capabilities have no positive impact. That means literally all the citation reported positive, but this one alone reported negative. Now here's the catch. How come all these references are positive, but this one alone is negative? Because this has paper as latest as 2017, but this paper is 2014. So how does it make sense? That is why multi-layer reading is very, very important. This is how you deconstruct a paper. Okay, next part. All will be literature review. So this is the further explanation of all the papers. So you can choose to read here or you can go through the paper directly. This is at your own decision how you want to do it. If I were you, I normally will go through all these papers. I will try to understand. Okay. Then starts the problem statement. This is all problem statement because literature review done, rational, okay, background done, rationale done, motivation done, the actual focus area established already, evidence gap shown already. Then they support that with literature review. Then they come up with problem statement. Problem statement you can actually find much because problem statement is specifically dedicated to this paper. You cannot actually find much of a research gap there. Okay, so example here, according to Devraj and Kohli, the actual usage of such systems is important. It is the missing link between IT, IS and firm performance. Two of the most critical areas indicating the effective usage of IS and its impact on firm performance are the decision-making processes and business processes. Obviously, they're only talking about their own solution because they want to sell their paper. But your job is to find out how they went wrong or what did they miss out. That's your purpose. Always remember when you read, that is your purpose of reading because that is how you can be creative and critical. So this is the start of problem statement. Understand how limited is the scope of the problem statement. In this case, the authors are only introducing IS dimensions, business processes and decision making. So use these statements in your research. Example, this paper only focused on IS dimensions with BP and DM, but not focused on enterprise resource management and other solutions. So this is how you can critically review a paper based on their problem statement if you understand what they have missed out. Okay, so this is how you can start in your literature review as a statement. Okay, so that is all section 1. Nothing much left there. This is all contribution and so on. Then we come to section number 2. Okay, again, this quick deconstruction. Okay, in section 2, before we start, I'm not going to go through this. Most gaps can be found in abstract, which I highlighted 2. Then conclusion will have the limitation or assumptions. Then section 1, that is where you have to understand the background, the rationale, why they're doing the study, what is the gap, kind of gap they're looking into, and what is the multi-layer reading telling you. In literature review, which is this part, this detailed literature review, this one. Mostly you can analyze if the theory was appropriate because this section is entirely related to the solution of this paper. What you can check is if the present literature to support the variables and mediators were appropriate or not. Okay, in this section. In this paper, those were sufficiently done, so not going to explore further. But what you can see is how they write the paper, how they go step by step. They define IV, that means the part of their solution, how they define rest of the dimensions, and then they introduce their mediator, and then how they derive the hypothesis. If hypothesis is not related to you, then you can ignore, because some subject areas don't use hypothesis, okay? And so on and so forth. And this is the solution that they're proposing. Okay, this is a quantitative causal system. Okay, input-output system lah. And this also can be an experimental system if an engineering. So it can be any kind of solution here. So here they have three different dimensions as IV, independent variable. Then they have two mediators and a what do you call that? Dependent variable. Okay, now we go down to methodology. Methodology is quite important because this is where you find a lot of gaps. Okay, methodology here, three questions you need to ask always. Is the instrument valid? Is the sampling valid? Is the demographic valid? All right. So here, first of all, instrument validity is quite well established. So nothing to query there. Number two, again, instrument validity, again, well established. Then number three would be sampling. Okay, so sampling, they only use Union of Chambers Community Exchanges of Turkey. That means they're only picking up from this. Even that is not only Turkey, but where they get their respondents from is also massively limited. All right, so my theory here is only limited to Turkey, so is that widely generalizable? Next question, respondents. It's a well-established process. However, they only took 204 firms and only one respondent from one firm to give the output for this, which is not sensible at all for me. Okay, if I want to criticize, that's how I'll criticize lah. So this is definitely a necessary gap that can be this paper can be criticized lah. Then we go to, that's all methodology. Then we go to data analysis. Okay, so data analysis. Okay, usually if you are in the journey of finding research gap, problem statement, and so on, usually data would not give you much of information because you haven't gone to that stage yet. However, it's very important to look at results and discussion if you're already almost close to proposal defense, or if you're already towards result and discussion collecting data, then this portion will be very important for you to analyze the outcome of the result. Or if you're doing research gap at the very beginning stage, you want to do meta-analysis, then this portion will be very important. Okay, so usually results analysis would not give you new gap, usually lah. But you can read through, and if you want to conduct meta-analysis. Okay, now let's go to discussion. Discussion will give you some ideas. Okay, discussion here. Discussion may give some gaps. Okay, so I can see the numbers are reducing because we hit 12 o'clock. Don't worry, I'm going to finish soon. Stay until the end because then only I'll be able to share where to go and get the literature summary Word document so that you can use it for all the papers when you want to write. So please hold. So now discussion may give some gaps. I'll try to finish it fast. The important parameter in discussion is, again, no support, however, has been found concerning the whole topic with infrastructure. This is my main concern. Okay. So here the authors declared infrastructure doesn't contribute to firm performance, but administrative and human resources do. When you establish gap, you can use this point. Perhaps infrastructure wasn't reflecting well with the given mediators. How about infrastructure if I use enterprise resource planning or with other variables? Okay, so that is how you can find out. And another important matter here, they use resource-based view. That also could be an alarming factor that infrastructure couldn't be analyzed well. Okay, so if you aim to establish gap via theoretical perspective, this is where you need to analyze strongly. Is RBV the right theory? Did infrastructure fail to provide significance due to a wrong theory? Or because of only one theory? How if I adopt technology acceptance model? Think out of the box. Okay, so that's it when it comes to analyzing a paper. That's how fast you can deconstruct a paper. And then back here, you summarize whatever you have read. And then you save it along with the paper so that you can reuse it later. And the potential gap that I have written down, findings are limited to Turkey, only a single respondent per company. That means you cannot generalize the idea for Malaysia example. Several other moderators can be implemented, such as firm culture, financial implication, and so on. Enterprise resource planning can be explored with the said mediators. This is my finding. This is my proposed solutions for this limitation. Okay, so now let me go from proposal, pathways to publications. Okay, before I go through this, any questions? We are almost towards the end. I think another 5 more minutes will be done. Any questions? Can everyone follow? Is it clear so far? Okay, so all good, eh? Okay, fantastic. So, can review papers from PhD thesis go for high impact? Okay, these are some of the best examples I can share with you. This is to encourage you to write more review papers and establish your publication requirement at the very early stage of your proposal before you go for your data collection. Okay, so here are some example from UTM. Okay, Q1 impact factor 16.799, rank number 1 out of 47, narrative review. From UPM, also narrative review, Q1 impact factor 16.002, rank number 2 in the whole world. Then conceptual paper from social science, okay, rank number 7, impact factor 10.8, actually it's SSCI, this is my mistake. Conceptual review, Dr. Parvez, Dr. Adila, Dr. Bernard, all these are my very good friends from the past. This is an engineering paper for many engineering students here. Systematic conceptual review, rank number 9 from UTM as well. Okay, from Nura Fini. So these are some of the best examples that I can show you personally, because I have my personal experience with these papers. Some of the papers went for proofreading, paraphrasing. Some of the papers we did coaching, consulting. Okay. So with all this, how important is proofreading? Let's check the outcomes. So this paper, just now I shared earlier, first initially was rejected. Okay, this particular paper from General Building Engineering, because engineering, they always require, all subject area requires very clear language, and the paper was immediately rejected. So then they approached us, the entire team. So then we proposed paraphrasing, proofreading, editing, and structuring to restructure the whole paper, and that's the outcome of it. And finally, the paper was accepted with one minor revision only. That was the power of language representation. Why? Because when you have good content, which the paper naturally had, I have to be fair, very, very strong paper, but the language was not well delivered. So people cannot understand or appreciate the value, especially editors and reviewers. But there are also assumption, a lot of clients also ask us, because they don't understand the nature of writing. When they have not very strong content, they assume that with good proofreading, when they approach us, paper can easily get into Web of Science or Scopus. That's not the case. I have to be honest here. The readers are happy when the language is good, but there is no value. And what you need to do is you must have good content and good language so that you score in both angles. All right. And this is another very good example from Dr. Tun Irfan, which awarded with certificate of excellence, and he received massively minor correction. Another very good example as well. Okay, and last but not least, I also need to share, ultimate thesis package, we still open to direct universities only whenever I give talk, up to 30% off. For proofreading, translation, and formatting services only, coaching and consulting, no. And for journals, we offer up to 10 and 20%, I think. So we are the one and only language warranty provider lifetime. Okay, and certificate will be given, and don't ever forget to collect certificate if you do proofreading with us or any other proofreaders. Make sure you have certificate. Submit your thesis and journal with certificate. Okay, don't forget that. Today's class, I'm going to give you all these notes. Okay, the paper that I've denoted. Okay, I've put all the notes inside the paper. Then I'm also going to give you the meta-analysis paper. I'm going to email to you. I usually email after I collect several classes. So please wait for me to finish several classes and then I'll send to everyone. And then the content analysis notes. I'll give you a sample conceptual paper. Okay, these are our highest scoring conceptual paper so far. And my own conceptual paper that I published last year. Also Q1 paper. But this is scoping review based. A very good example for you to follow. Okay, I'll share with you all the notes. Do you guys need the deck of slides or not? These slides. Okay, so do everyone needs the slides? Okay, all right. So I'll also provide the slides to you guys. Okay, these are all the past classes that were conducted, all completed already. In case if you miss out the classes, especially designing question instrument, writing review journal before proposal defense, choosing theoretical framework on Facebook Live, you can go and watch the classes here. This was the March Facebook Live classes lah. Soon I'll be designing the new classes soon. Okay, now I'll give you the opportunity as usual, always, to all the students and even supervisors. We have many supervisors today. You may request for your own Facebook Live classes if you have any questions from today's class or any questions that you want someone to teach. Then you can go and request for your own Facebook Live class. When the quorum is sufficient, I will design the class and teach on Facebook Live. So you can click the link I've just given down there. Make sure you hit 5-star for the review for the class today. Okay, and then you can present what you want in the comment column, like what classes you want me to conduct. If you're going to give me less than 5 stars, then don't click the link. You can WhatsApp me directly to discuss as well. Okay, so this is my direct WhatsApp link. In case you miss it, you can always ask Dr. Ain Lau, and most of the people in UITM will have my number. Okay. And last but not least, to all supervisors and students who wants to excel further by the publication, proposal or thesis, not only students, okay, we have many profs as well who join us all the time, but nowadays more online lah. We always focus on publication, content editing, Scopus or Web of Science only. Okay, we don't do ERA. ERA is too easy that you guys can do yourself actually. We also prepare students for defense Viva. We teach them how to defend and how to go for Viva. And then for those who are stuck with their proposal defense comments or thesis Viva examiner comments, we always coach how to respond very effectively. And for those who are stuck with their PhD or master's proposal, we can coach them from beginning until the end. Okay, sometimes the students also come together with the supervisor. Okay, because they also want to strategize on publication. And thesis to journal conversion. Finally, rest of the chapters, data analysis and interpretation, we also teach how to conduct analysis and so on. I don't really do large workshop these days. I'll be doing very soon because I go mostly based on one-to-one basis. We have about 112 consultants now, different subject areas. Okay. So last but not least, that's all. Thank you very much. That is all for today. Thanks for coming, everyone. Let me stop sharing. I hope the class benefited all of you and you have learned. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Over to you, moderator.
Thank you, Dr. Thava. That was indeed a very compact, informative, interesting and stimulating sessions. Honorable audience, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is now open for any questions from the participants. You can unmute your microphone and preferably have your camera turned on, or you can forward your inquiries in the chat box.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. Any questions, welcome. Any questions are welcome. No, next class would be on literature review. Meta-analysis won't be this year. Meta-analysis, I don't think 2 hours would be enough. It is very complex. Nurul Nadia?
Hello.
Yes. Hello. Hi. Yes. Tuan Rauf. Yes. How can I help you?
Okay. Good afternoon, Dr. Thava. Thank you for your presentation.
No problem.
Just one question, very simple. How there's many. I think there's many tools, especially the tools that are driven by artificial intelligence, like ChatGPT. So how these tools actually influence to get or to produce a good
Actually,
paper?
Yeah, actually, that's a very good question. I tested also, and I also seen a lot of results from Facebook also. Actually, ChatGPT at a certain point, it just saturates. It cannot give answers anymore. And for me, if you ask me, I wouldn't rely on a tool that is still under development for research and my hard work in PhD. I wouldn't rely. I still rely on this. Okay. As a matter of fact, I don't even rely on, I don't trust Grammarly. I don't trust, I definitely don't trust Quillbot. It's a horrible software. A lot of people don't know that. I don't trust Scholarly C. The only software that I trust is maybe Mendeley or EndNote. It's very helpful. I would encourage you to use that. But anything else, I think we are years away. We are years away. We are not there yet. Although all the hype happens, but if you realize when the hype happens, there'll be a breaking point. Always. Don't follow the hype. Any other questions? I hope I answered you sufficiently, Rauf.
Yeah, I agree. So meaning that the human power is still dominant compared to the tools, right?
Definitely, if you ask me, because I still don't trust how far. Maybe general usage can lah, like auto reply of WhatsApp, finding me some information, like instead of Google search, maybe yes lah. But to synthesize through research and give me a research gap, I still don't know how it's gonna do it. I'm not against artificial intelligence. I'm definitely agree with it, but Tesla is still struggling on self-driving. That shows the limitation of artificial intelligence.
Okay, thank you, Dr.
Thank you. Less number of research done a part of gap. Depends. If there's less research, there could be some inherent meaning to it also. So you must also understand that. Or maybe very little people researching into that. That could be also benefit. You might find more gaps. You might. Okay, Mokhtar? Huyang, there are many books to guide, many. But I'm not a person that I read book because I do my own research and I create my own formulation. So I don't really look at books. But if you ask me, I think the best source would be Google Books. That would be the best. You just look what is relevant for you and go read based on that. Thank you, Ms. Suhaila, and thank you everyone else. So if there's no more questions, I think we can call it a day lah. No problem, Huya. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, all of you, for the interesting questions from participants and answers from Dr. Thava Maran. Very well, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to have your pleasure cooperation to turn on the camera for a group photo sessions. Your cooperation is highly appreciated.
Next one, Hu Yang, I think UITM will share very soon. Next date, I think we have decided. But if there's any changes, we will inform you. We'll inform you all via email. Okay? Or however UITM is, probably WhatsApp as well, I guess. How many literature generally to produce a review paper? Okay, kalau systematic review, I've seen we have coached papers as high as 140, 150. I've also seen my own paper, only 38, 39. I've also gone up to 80. So it really depends on the context and requirements. How do you define your RQ and how do you define your inclusion-exclusion criteria? Those are the deciding factors.
Okay, okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, everyone. See you all soon for the next class. Stay tuned. Wish you all the best. And I hope today's class benefited all of you. And good luck to all of you. Thank you very much. See you all soon. Okay? See you. And thank you, moderator. See you. Okay, and thank you, everyone else. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye. And everyone else as well. Bye-bye.